The Kimber KDS9c, that's Kimber double stack 9mm compact. We've done 2 videos on this so far. One is the initial unboxing and one is the initial range report. And I've got a lot of good things to say about this gun. Even if you hate Kimbers, it's kind of hard to hate this gun. Stay with me and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to take it out to the range and put its final, actually 1,200 rounds through this gun. All right, thanks for joining me today, and before we go any farther, please like this video, share this video, do whatever you can to help us out. We always appreciate it. Make sure you're subscribed and make sure YouTube didn't unsubscribe you. Make sure you click on all notifications so that you know what's coming up on Riders Range. The KDS9c, Kimber Double Stack 9 Compact, we've covered a lot of that in the initial videos throughout the discussion here. I'll put the links up here on the right somewhere. A lot of good things about it, but just a quick review on it. First of all, one complaint: no owner's manual comes with it. I did check with Kimber, actually got a hold of somebody at Kimber customer service, and they said they're not shipping owner's manuals with anything. It's all online. Well, hey, that's great if you got access to online. If you all of a sudden need to do some research in your owner's manual when you're out in the field, you better be used to looking at a really small electronic device to get that. Okay, I know, a lot of people now do everything on thetheir tablet or their smartphone, which is getting bigger and bigger. But anyway, you also better hope you have internet access wherever you are and you need it. Man, I just like a paper manual. Okay, they probably save $1.50 for each gun that way, but yeah, it is what it is. I guess that's the coming thing. Maybe I'm behind the times. But other than that, there's a lot of good things to like about this. Let's start with the top again, just a quick overview. Comes with a fiber optic front sight, comes with a plain black serrated rear sight that is adjustable for elevation, not for windage. The front sight, however, is what's adjustable for windage, but that's only drift adjustable. So if you need to adjust your left-right impact, then you got to knock the front sight one way or the other. If you want to adjust your up and down, you can do the back. And the sights are one of my complaints about this particular gun, or at least their style. This is not dovetailed into the slide at all. There's 2 screws that hold this on from the bottom of the slide. To me, that's maybe the weak point on the gun. Now, will this stand up to Sage Dynamics beating the gun up by cocking it using the rear sight against the, well, he uses the optic, against the stationary object? I don't know. With just those 2 screws holding it, I'd probably be a little concerned. On the other hand, this is not designed as a duty type gun. It's designed as a personal carry gun. So for most applications, that's probably going to be adequate. The slide is, sort of a tri-top slide. Serrations on the top, allegedly to cut down glare. It does have cocking serrations that even go up onto the top part of it if you're into doing a press check this way, which is fine. That does work. The cocking serrations aren't super aggressive, but they certainly get the job done, even with gloves on. Fit and finish, the slide to frame is very nice. Actually, I've seen guns that cost this much that weren't fitted as well, but this one is actually a good fit. There's no slop at all, no movement at all on the slide to frame. Well, the slide to frame is not everything it's cracked up to be. It's mainly slide to barrel, and there is no movement at all in the barrel to slide fit on this gun. And as long as we're on the barrel, you can see it is fluted, and in the original videos you can see when I took it down, it is fluted all the way around. It's a fully ramped barrel. It does have a target crown on it. It's a little bit dirty because, again, this thing has had 1,200 rounds through it with no cleaning so far. There is no real melt on this. The corners aren't super sharp, but I'd like it if it were melted just a little bit more. After all, it is a carry gun. I do like the taper on the bottom of the slide there, but again, there's no real melting on it. It just would be nice if it had just a hair more. This has the Kim Pro finish. Now this is black. You can also get this in a silver Kim Pro finish. Looks like stainless. Let's see. As long as we're up on the slide, it does have an optics plate, and here's an optics cover plate because it is an optics ready gun. And here's one little complaint: the finish or the fit between the optics plate and the slide is not. It's not perfect. I'd like to see it a little better. There's just the slightest gap that you can just, I don't know if you can barely see it in the video or the film here or not. Slight gap up in the front. This plate's only removable from the bottom. Pop off the rear sight, pop off the optics plate from the bottom, or the cover plate. Optics plates are supposed to be available on this, but every time I've checked the Kimber website, now customer service said they'd be out at the end of the summer. Well, here it is, the end of September, and the website just says out of stock, so I don't really think they have them available yet. Down to the frame, it is an aluminum frame, again, the Kim Pro finish on it. This gun is actually, even though it's a double stack, I'm not complaining about the width on it. This comes out to about 1.3 inches, which is about maybe a hundredth of an inch or so wider than the Wilson KDS9, excuse me, the Wilson EDC X9, which I compared this to in the original video. And it is a couple tenths of an inch wider than the double stack, same capacity, Alpha Foxtrot S15, which if you follow this channel at all, you know I really like that S15. There's no grip safety on this, although if you look at the cut on this, it almost looks like it was initially designed to have a grip safety. You don't see any of this on the Wilson EDC X9. That's all just one piece machined, but yet there's an area where it looks like it could have had a grip safety once upon a time, just the way that this whole thing is designed in there. My bet is that they started out designing in this with a grip safety and then realized that there are a lot of people that don't want a grip safety because the EDC X9 doesn't have one. So there is no grip safety on this thing. G10 grips that have what they call the cross hatch pattern on it, and that cross hatch pattern matches the texture on the front strap and also the back strap. Not super aggressive, but again, it's a carry gun, and there's always a compromise between getting an aggressive texture on the gun and what's going to abrade your cover garments or your shirt or even your skin if you're carrying it close to you. 10-round magazine, or excuse me, 15-round magazine, although 10-round magazine in states that aren't as free. This is a Kimber proprietary magazine. These are about $50 a piece. One thing interesting I found about the mags, though, the mag from the Canik TP9 SF, or in this case the Mate, this is about a 21-round magazine, does fit, it does lock in place, and I'll roll some video in here that shows, by gosh, it does work with this magazine. The only problem is it does not lock to the rear because the protrusion on the follower that locks the slide, you can see, is just a little bit shallower on the Canik mag than it is on the Kimber mag. Other than that, these mags are virtually identical as far as how they function, and again, it ran perfectly with the Canik mag in it. When we first showed this gun, we measured the trigger at just over 3.5 pounds, 3 pounds 9 ounces, something to that effect. After 1,200 rounds, this trigger now is down to just under 2.5 pounds. I do happen to like the trigger on this gun. There's only, I guess again, it's not perfect, it's not a Wilson. There's very little up and down play. Very little take up until you get to the wall, and the wall has just one little glitch right there. There's a glitch and it breaks. It's very short. It does have an over travel stop in it, so there's no over travel. And reset is a little bit longish compared to 1911, but it's there. It's all the way to the front, and again, nice feel on it. So down to about 2.5 pounds. Excellent trigger. No complaints at all. Okay, somebody will complain probably because this has some MIM parts in it, but again, the trigger itself is working really well. I think I mentioned in a couple of the videos, this does take most typical 1911 holsters. This is a craft holster. It's actually Falco by Craft leather holster. Fits in it really nice. This holster was made for my EDC X9, still fits fine. This is from the old Pistol Ridge Concealment Company. Fits fine in that. And it even fits fine inside the waistband in the holstered from Crucial Concealment. This is for the Staccato. So again, we fired, and I say we, there were several of my friends actually helped put a lot of rounds through this gun. We got 1,200 rounds through it so far. I did lube it twice. I lubed it initially when I got the gun out of the box, and at about 500 rounds I lubed it again, but I've never cleaned this gun. I did inspect it when I first took it out of the box, and it has run flawlessly with 1,200 rounds, and I've thrown all sorts of stuff at it. All sorts of junk ammunition, even things as small as the 90 grain interceptor ammunition from the Ballistic Machinist. These are 90 grain, supposedly moving at 1,335 feet per second out of a 4.6 inch test barrel. These are interesting in that it's a hybrid cartridge case that's aluminum and steel combination, and it's got a machined copper bullet to it. So let's just put 5 of them in here. I want to thank the owner of the Ballistic Machinist for sending these to me to give a tryout, and we'll see if they work in the Kimber. Just 5 shots, and we're going to stick to the silhouette here at 12 yards. Cycle the ball, moved it. Not a lot of recoil out of those, but again, it's a light bullet. All right, something else I want to try. Hornady Critical Defense Light. These are 100 grain FTX projectiles. These are relatively short. It says superior expansion with reduced recoil, loaded with pink tipped FTX bullets. And again, much less recoil on that, but it cycled the action just fine. It's run everything. Now, granted, I haven't put any steel case cheapy ammo through it, but I put a lot of old junk ammo, and it has run everything without a hiccup. Having said that, a couple things about it. Number one, I already mentioned that the rear sight is adjustable for height only. I did have to crank it up a little bit. Kimber says this is sighted from the factory for for 25 yards, point of aim, point of impact. They didn't say what ammunition's with it. I did find, again, putting all sorts of ammunition through it, that this really likes 147 grain defensive ammunition. I think I made a comment in the earlier video, that the range video, that I use 124 grain V-Crown. It's actually 147 grain SIG V-Crown, as well as 147 grain Remington Golden Saber. And this thing is right on at 15 and 25 yards with 147 grain. Not so much with 115, 124. This gun is definitely accurate enough. In fact, it's more than accurate. This gun will outshoot probably anybody that can handle the gun. The gun itself is capable, with the right ammo, of course. And I shot it at 12, 25, and 50 yards, even hitting the 6-inch plate at 50 yards, and even the 6-inch plates on the portable Texas Star at 50 yards. Now, granted, I'm not hitting 100%, but that's not the gun's fault. That's my fault. More shots than I wanted, but... And I did suffer a shoulder injury a while back, so I had to test this out for once I do get the surgery. I'm only going to be limited to my left hand for a while, so I did try it out left-handed. Not quite a firearms guy limp wrist test, but I did shoot just the one-handed, and it functioned 100%. And again, accurate all the way out to 50 yards, even left-handed. So there's a lot to say about that. Let's run some range footage in here, and then we'll get back to final thoughts. Gong at 50, 16-inch at 50, 12-inch at 50, and the answer is no. Got the gong, let's go back for that 16. No. There we go, the 12 below it. 10 to the left of the 16. 8 below that. 6 to the left of that. Alright, as you can see, that as long as I do my part, the gun does its part, and again, it's hard not to like this gun. This is probably going to be, I don't know if it's going to replace my Staccato as a carry gun, but I don't know. I like the capacity on it, so it may very well. Alright, so final thoughts. On the plus side, the size of the gun, it is a compact size gun, comparable to your Glock 19, Wilson EDC, X9, whatever. So it is a good carry gun. It's within the weight range for carry, as I go back to the original video on that. Extremely reliable. I mentioned with any ammunition at all, 100% reliable, even dirty. Now, part of that is because it does have the doesn't have full-length rails on it. It's got half-length rails, which is what Wilson did, and a lot of companies are going to now, and that helps, I think, enhance the reliability. It is Accurate, highly accurate gun, certainly more accurate than I am. It is optics ready. That's a plus. We'll come back to the minuses on that in just a minute. And certainly the price. The price of this is half the price of an EDC X9. Okay, granted it's more than twice the price of a Glock, but again, this is not. I mean, if you like the polymer frame striker fired guns, go for it. But this is not in that class. I'm kind of neutral on the fit and finish. It does fit fine. There's no slop, as I've already mentioned. The finish is okay. The Kim Pro has held up well. The grip texture is okay. It's not super aggressive. It works well for me so far. I haven't shot it with sweaty hands yet, but so far it's been good for me. Grip safety, kind of neutral on that. I like grip safety. Some people don't. Looks like the gun was designed for it, as I mentioned. And again, neutral on ammo. 147 grain ammo is what it really likes. Carry that as defense, and I really like both the SIG V Crown and the Remington Golden Saber for in the 147 grain class for defense rounds. On the negative side, though, I'm still a little concerned with that back sight just being held on from the bottom with two small screws. Again, civilian defensive carry, it's probably going to be okay. It's probably, unless you drop this thing regularly. The optics plate, or the cover plate, I don't really like the way it fits. Kimber, I think, could have done a better job on that. And the fact that I still can't get optics plates on their website turns me off just a little bit. And when you do put an optic on it, you've got to change both the front and rear sights and put on some really tall suppressor height sights, because you put a plate on it and then mount the optic on top of the plate. It sits higher than some. Again, I'll go back to the Alpha Foxtrot S15, which, by the way, I'm going to do an optics review on that one shortly, I hope. But that one's a direct mount, which sits much lower. This one is going to have some really tall sights. And again, once we get that taller backside held on, with just a couple of screws, I'm a little concerned about it. Overall, it's a winner. It's half the price of the EDC X9, and man, I'm definitely keeping this gun. So this will probably at some point become a carry gun. Again, I'm going to keep it with iron sights. I'm probably not going to put an optic on it, just because I may try it just to see how it works out. But for defensive use, I'm okay using iron sights. All right, the Kimber KDS9c. Kimber Double Stack 9C. Thanks for sticking with me through, again, a relatively long 1,000+ round review, but gotta love this gun.